and they're off.
Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. Now, it is getting warm. It's going to get hot in here and out there indeed. So whether you are heading out on climbing, paddling, tramping, or running adventures, look no further than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs over the spring and the summer. Head over to 57A Buchan Street, I don't care, Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at furtherfaster.co.nz.
It goes something like further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to further, faster now.
Oh, further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to further, faster now.
Dirt Church Radio.
Let's hear it for the boys. Episode 346 of Dirt Church Radio. I'm Matt Rayment.
Let's hear it for the boys. And I'm Andrew McDowell, and somewhere is Ellie Pottinger.
She's around somewhere. Kia ora koutou, Aotearoa's third-rated trail and ultra-marathon running podcast. Hello, mate. How are you? Did you catch up on any World Trail Champs goss over the week?
World Trail Champs. I feel a bit removed from it, and I really shouldn't, because it is a pretty big deal. You know, I've run with one of the boys, Toby Batchelor, man. That dude could run up a hill. Holy moly. Yeah, man, you gotta be fast. Goodness me, some of those results are crazy. What's really cool to see, my sort of big takeaway from it is we're really now seeing these ultra big shots, your Katie Shides, your Jim Walmsley and stuff, coming across and sort of saying, you know what? Because Caleb Olsen was there as well, the winner of Western States. And they're basically saying, yeah, we're going to treat this with the respect it deserves. And by all accounts, that 80K race was just horrendously difficult. I mean, New Zealand had DNFs out the wazoo. So, you know, if you want to be challenged, if you want to race against the best, that's where you go. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's always had that level of mana. So this feels like a bit of a page turn, bit of a turning the page. What's the expression? Something like that. Look, bring it on. Let's embrace it. I've always felt this weird us and them between like the IAU and then you're on one side of the coin, which does all these sorts of official races where you must be a member of a club and that sort of thing to participate. And then the sort of, well, eventually it became, you know, a suit and tie UTMB. But of course it started off as the sort of dirtbags who just wanted to go run the trails and they don't need to pay their $100 and whatever fee to Athletics New Zealand to be a part of a club to go do it. And I've always been kind of on both sides, right? I love the club stuff and I've always been a member of one. And I love the low-key trail events and I've always wanted to see more of a crossover, I guess. So if this is the start of that, or at least a continuation of momentum, then yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It sort of takes that, our wistful Olympics, but trail running, but make it shit. And actually it's trail running, but make it excellent.
Classy trail running, yeah.
Yeah, and on international lines, I mean, we do love an international down here, don't we? In Aotearoa, or indeed anywhere. I'll watch anyone play anything for any point. You know, if it's an international game,
yes,
I'll generally watch it.
That's great.
Could be, and it doesn't matter what the game is. It could be curling. I'll watch that.
Oh,
or
yeah,
hurling.
Curling's
I'll
a great
that.
game.
Yeah.
It's an excellent podcast on curling. I highly recommend. I cannot remember the name of it, but you can put it in the show notes. It's very, very good. Surprisingly good. It's all about the sticks or the brooms. No, it's all about the brooms.
Now, hurling is the game with the sticks. That's the Gaelic game.
Okay.
Where it's basically like you've got it's like it looks sort of like a sharper hockey stick, and it's played, unlike hockey, which is played around knee height, this game is played around shoulder height.
Okay.
Or elbow height.
Sounds very dangerous.
Yes, it is. Fantastic to watch, though. The athleticism of those human beings is incredible.
Love it. We love our niche sports.
We do.
I got to see arborist world champs the other day by sheer chance. I was walking through Cornwall Park and there were these dudes up a tree, and I don't know if I mentioned. Have I told the story? Maybe I have. But I was standing talking to some dude. I was like, "What are they doing? What am I looking at here, mate?" He's like, "You're looking at like one of the world champion arborists right now." The arborists have world champs? Oh yeah, mate. They got to do this and they got to move this thing, ring a bell and I just happened to walk across, and the guy I was talking to was like a full-time world champion of arboristing, What do you mean? It was great. I love it.
Shout out to Dougie Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen this photo? Dougie Kyle, legend, runs barefoot, also dangles under helicopters with chainsaws, cutting down pine trees during electrical storms.
And high voltage power lines too.
It's a double
Absolute
threat.
madman. Shout out, bro.
Shout out. Anyway, Tanya Carroll. Ali and I caught up with Tanya Carroll, who is the director of trail running for Oceania for the Ironman group, putting on Tarawera, UTA, Ultra Kosciuszko, UTMB, all the big races. And my goodness me, this human being, she is just fantastic. And before any of you go, oh my gosh, Ironman, I want to hear about the grassroots stuff. This Tanya is the real deal. She's run over 100 trail races, including 35 ultra marathons. She's done 10 UTA 100s. She's done 2 UTMB milers. She's done the Great Naseby Water Race miler and 100K. She's done the Oxford 100K, Old Ghost 85K. She did the inaugural Buffalo Stampede 75K race, and for the next 3 years, she did the Tarawera 65K in the 2018, which was the mud. She's done 7 Mount Solitaries. She's done 5 6-foot. She's done an OCC, Surf Coast Century 50K, etc. And in her spare time, when she's not being a full-time operations manager, she is she's got a volunteer role as the operations manager for the 6-foot track marathon, which is one of the gnarliest and most well-known sort of grassroots races in Australasia. So yeah, she's fantastic. Ali and I have both got to spend a lot of time with her over the years, and you'll hear a story later on in the conversation where you think people go above and beyond for their runners. Wait till you hear what this woman did on her birthday for another human being. But
Wow.
goodness me, yeah.
Well, mate, you know me, I'm a cynical bugger at the best of times, but even I'll have to admit that's a pretty good list.
It's a good list. There's a lot of kudos on the Strava there, Andrew. But look,
yeah, I might have to add her to the list.
absolutely. Let's crack on with this.
It's the greatest run ever. It's the greatest run ever.
Greatest run ever, which is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us and tell us your greatest run ever. It might not be a race or a mountain summit. It might just be a run around the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. Send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And look, we're getting a little bit low again. We get bumps. You're heading into the summer season. You're doing your big training runs. You've got to be seeing some great sunsets or sunrises or animal encounters or just good times on the trail or bad times on the trail. Send them in to us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And this is from Hayden McMahon, and just a heads up, this deals with the subject of loss. The night before the anniversary of Dad's death, I rang my big brother with a ridiculous idea. What if we walk 53 kilometres tomorrow, one for each year of Dad's life? I expected him to laugh it off. Instead, he just said, I'm in. No medals, no aid stations, just willpower. We had no right attempting an ultra. At that point, either of us would have called a 10K a long run. My preparation involved lacing up an old pair of hiking boots and stuffing a backpack with Panadol, which I'm sure he took only as prescribed, and some gels I'd never tried before. At 3 a.m, we stood on the Gippsland Plains rail trail, head torches glowing, ready to set off on an adventure we hadn't earned. I started calculating how long it would take us at different walking speeds, and my brother just cut me off with a cheeky grin. Nah, mate, we're running it. Suddenly, hiking boots didn't seem like the brightest idea. In spite of this, the opening kilometres felt almost holy. Gravel underfoot, stars overheads, rabbits darting across the trail, and the quiet sense that Dad was there with us. My brother surged ahead like a man on a mission, while I settled into a soft-footed shuffle. I hoped I would keep my untested joints in one piece. For a while, it worked, but as the distance crept on, reality set in. My boots chewed up my feet, the gels chewed up my stomach, and every step became a negotiation. My brother looked strong, so I kept my suffering to myself. Later, I found out he was doing the exact same thing, feigning strength so I wouldn't give up. Classic big brother move, that. We took turns being the stronger brother, dragging each other through the middle kilometres. By then, our conversations had delved into single-worded caveman talk. Water? Gel? Pain?
Can relate to
Everything else was stripped away. It was brutal and somehow hilarious. As the warm glow of dawn began To light the way, I pulled Dad's photo from my pocket, and for a few moments it felt like he was right there, running alongside us, the three of us together as it should have been. It reminded me that the point wasn't pace or comfort, it was connection. We weren't running to prove anything, we were running to carry him with us. When we passed marathon distance, my brother grinned through the pain and declared, "That's it, we're ultra runners now." I wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. My shuffle had degraded into something barely recognisable as running, but stubbornness and the fact that we were in it together kept us moving forward. As we pushed into the final kilometres, the humour turned dark. We joked, if Dad had kicked the bucket a few years earlier, we'd be finished by now. It was bleak, but it carried us another step. That's what brothers do. Find a way to keep each other going, even if it is with a bad joke. At 52k, Mum joined us for the home stretch. She was fresh and cheerful while we were shells of human beings staggering towards the finish. The last kilometre was chaos. Cramps, dizziness, dragging feet, but the three of us crossed the imaginary finish line together. My brother and I didn't say much at the end. Our legs had done the talking and our hearts had grown in measure. We'd started as two idiots with no plan, no training and no business running an ultra. We finished as brothers closer than we'd ever been, with Dad stitched into every step. That run broke us down physically, but it built something bigger, a bond, a sense of carrying Dad forward, and for me, the spark that's turned into a love of running and new goals I had never dreamed of chasing. That day was, and may forever be, my greatest run ever.
Fantastic work. Congratulations, brothers. That's awesome.
Respect, Hayden.
Hope they keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hiking boots, though. Bro.
Yeah, that's awful. It's not. Yeah, I remember the blisters from hiking boots.
All right. Let's crack on with our conversation, Ellie and my conversation actually, with the wonderful and amazing Tanya Carroll.
It is super exciting to welcome Tanya Carroll to Dirt Church Radio. How are you, Tanya?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
It's really nice to see you, Tanya. And it's very rare for yourself, Ali, and I to be the only three people in the room together. Because whenever we see you, you're always so busy. Is it a busy time of year for you at the moment?
Yeah, it is. We've come off a busy time. So I had City to Surf, and then outside of work, I had 6-foot track marathon just recently, and then went to Ironman 70.3 Western Sydney. I was going to say we're in a lull, but it's only, 7 weeks to Cosy, so the break doesn't last long.
And I suppose what we should do is we're being terribly insular and not getting you to explain, Tanya, what your role is in the trail community.
So I'm the Director of Trail Running for Ironman Oceania. Got three races in my portfolio, so Tarawera, Cosy and Ultra Trail Australia. So.
And also not just that, but in your spare time, because you said you had 6 foot, but when you said you had 6 foot, what do you mean you had 6 foot?
So I'm part of a committee. Actually, I've been with them since 2018. Awesome committee. Obviously, it's all not for profit with money's going to RFS. But I do the ops manager role for them, which basically means primarily looking after buses and the finish line for 6 foot. So, and obviously the race is usually on in March, but it got pushed back to September, so that was a bit different.
It sounds that is an amazing job to have. It sounds very busy and it sounds very dynamic and involved. But take us right back to the start. What was your first taste of running? When did you start running itself?
I was a late bloomer. I was very unathletic as a child, didn't really do any team sports. I've got zero hand-eye coordination. And I think after my oldest son was born, I was early 30s, thought I've got to do something, and just sort of started doing fun runs, like Mother's Day 4K run or, City to Surf. Just sort of community runs for fun. And did that for a long time. And then, a good friend of mine, Tash sort of challenged me for us to do a marathon before we turned 40. So that was probably the start. And then, from there, sort of came across some other nutters who were into trail running and sort of went from there.
And you went pretty gangbusters from there because you've done 10 UTA hundreds, 2 UTMB milers, one that went as it was a success and one you called a learning opportunity. You've done GNW miler and 100K, Oxfam 100K, Old Coast 100K, Buffalo Stampede, Tarawera, 7 Mount Solitaries, 5 6-foots, OCC, Surf Coast Century, and probably more. So, going from Mother's Day fun runs to that absolutely beast of a list, how did you get there? Was it just peer pressure? They were just like, right, you have to sign up for all of these.
I think it was peer pressure, but definitely, I don't know, you meet more and more crazy people, right? And then someone else is doing something and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll give that a go. Definitely when I first started running, I thought I'm not motivated enough to train for anything. So literally I think when I went, from, say, a 10K to a half marathon, I don't think I did a single proper training run. I think I walked sort of the last half hour or whatever. And then, getting into trail, I guess, and there's so many stunning races and amazing courses out there that, I'd do one and then, someone recommends something else. And it's definitely a very social activity for me as well. I use it as a chance to sort of go away with girlfriends, etc. So, the distances just grew and grew, but I'm definitely coming down the other side of that bell curve.
Was there a pivotal moment for you when you can remember going, hey, I'd like to give this, I'd like to give this a go? What was your first ultramarathon?
I think my first one, I hope this is right. Oh, actually, I started trail running. I did a Beyond the Black Stump. It's just a fat ass run on New Year's Day in 2012, I think it was. And there were a few people that were doing 6 foot, and because I hadn't done any trail running, I didn't have any qualifiers or anything like that. And but some of them were going on to do UTA. And at the time, there was only the 100K race, or there was a 50K LEM, I remember too. I think there was a 2-person relay you could do for the 100K. So, but I didn't know anyone else to do it. So. So I guess that's why. If there had been an 11 and a 22 and a 50, I might have done the logical thing and worked my way up. So I sort of threw myself into it. Full steam.
That's a crack up. Couldn't find anyone to do the other 50K, so it's like, right, I've just got to do 100K of Blue Mountains trails. How did it go for you, that first? What was it? Was it even the North Face 100 then, or what was it called? It was the North Face 100.
It was the North Face 100. It was still. It was when it was still based at the Fairmont for the start and finish.
Yeah.
Which I think it was for the first 3 that I did. So obviously a lot of the same people that are still involved with the race in terms of Tom and Alina and some of the crew. I think I actually put in a fair, given I didn't start till New Year's Day, I actually did put in a fair amount of training. I was certainly naive. I think I thought it was going to be one and done and that would be it. But it was just, such a cool community to be part of. And you just obviously meet people and want to come back and sort of relive that experience. But dragged my family up there, which was fun.
It's a pretty special environment. I got to have my first taste of the Fairmont this year, which was very welcome. It must have been pretty both special and hectic starting and finishing at the Fairmont back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously there were a lot less people, but it still felt very busy and so forth. But the check-in was in the auditorium there, and literally you're standing in the lobby before you go out to the front where the buses pull in these days for the start line. But actually, just when you said you stayed at the Fairmont this year, my family, was, as I say, was staying there, hadn't stayed there before, and they didn't get out to a single checkpoint. They went to the hot pools, the kids went to the arcade, they did whatever else was on offer. Literally, they didn't even come up to the start line. I saw them at the finish. That was it.
I bet they wanted to come back again though, Tanya. They were probably like, yeah, Mum, you're doing it next year. This was an awesome weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
So then, going on to do 10 of them, what were the best ones and what were the hardest ones or the worst ones?
I was actually, someone was asking me about this the other day. Even though the course, as you guys know, there's been small course tweaks in it, with the exception of 22, which we won't talk about. Largely it's been the same, but, a couple of, a little slip here where we've had to detour, etc. So the course has largely been the same, but I think just, the fact that the weather's always different, the people you sort of come across and end up chatting to, makes it different. So I never felt like, here I go again, I'm doing the same thing. I guess some of the most memorable ones, usually I get really hot, and so I like wearing a singlet and shorts, and that's it. But there's been a couple of obviously super chilly ones where I think I went in and out of the Fairmont about 3 times before I finally actually left there one year when it was just freezing cold, maybe about 4 years ago or so. And just funny experiences running into people on the trails that make it memorable.
What was your best time and what was your slowest time? I'm curious.
Oh, 15, I think it was 15:40, I want to say 2, don't hold me to that, I think was the best time. And it did take me quite a few years. I sort of started off like 19, 17, and then a whole lot around like 16:03, 16:05 sort of, and then finally got in just under that. And then, as I say, I talked about the bell curve. I sort of went back up to that 19 hours in one year. The out and back in 22 obviously helped make a slightly faster time again. So yes, certainly no speedster, but I think no matter what I've enjoyed, no matter where I've been.
That 15:42, that's now a silver belt buckle. Was it at the time?
No.
No. Oh, darn it.
I'm
Because that's the
tempted-
top 25%, right? Like women around under that 16 hours, I think.
I don't know the exact percentage, but I think it. I was certainly sort of happy with finally cracking that 16 hours. I know that I would have been at the bottom of Furber, I think, around and sort of knew, I'm gonna do this.
Good.
So that was good. Didn't have to put the pressure of zooming up the steps.
What contributed to your quick time? You said it took a couple to kind of get into it, and then you had that bunch where things were there or thereabouts. Did you do anything different from your training, or do you think it was just the experience that you had of multiple events under your belt?
I think probably the experience. I don't think my training was necessarily much different from sort of the year before or the year after. And in fact, actually, when I'd done the most volume in terms of training was the years that I did UTMB, and my PB for UTA wasn't one of those years. I think obviously there's preparation and training and all the rest of it, but so much has to also go your way, right, and line up. So I think, nutrition, I got my nutrition right, which often I don't. I ended up running with a friend for quite a big piece of it, especially from Queen Vic Hospital for the final 22Ks. So I think just taking your mind off that and chatting to someone, definitely helped as well. So, just worked out on the day, which was great.
Having so much experience at UTA, what advice would you give to people to make the most of their time, to enjoy it?
Oh, look, I think, particularly the first year, don't put too much pressure on yourself, to achieve anything particular in terms of time, like, use it as a learning opportunity when you first go out there. You can't beat those. Pretty much when I look at everybody's training sessions, there's some element of the same thing, isn't there? Long runs on a Saturday, I used to follow that up with maybe it might be a 30K on a Saturday and a 20-ish or something like that on a Sunday hill session during the week. I should have been doing tempo sessions, managed to avoid most of those, I think. Yeah, definitely. All of the same old things, I guess you hear, practice with your nutrition. I had a couple of terrible years where I didn't pack all my, I had very few sessions with my mandatory gear in the back, and then, literally hadn't had it in there, and then went out on race day. I thought, why have I got this? Why is my back so sore, etc. This is a tiny one, but I'm a huge fan of flannels that you put a little bit of water on them and you freeze them, put them in a Ziploc bag. Love that. It just makes you feel fresh when you get to the checkpoints. Look, again, I think in a course like UTA, there's probably mixed feelings on poles. I tend to stow them in Queen Vic just to help me get through that last sort of 22 Ks. But yeah, I totally get that. That depends on what type of runner you are and so forth. So, what did Killian said? The course was fast and flat, didn't he? I don't know whether I share the same view.
I'm sure that's what people think when they're going up further stairs.
Yeah, that's right. Or Fernbow for that matter.
Yeah. Or Fernbow.
I think Fernbow's worse.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Fernbow at the top, you can't go up, which is why there was also a little deviation last year. So I'm sure there's lots of people hoping that stays the same.
But I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Like you said, with those little flannels, those little icy flannels, it's small things, psychological things, and the further stairs certainly takes on, it's got a mythical element to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, was it 2 years ago when we had to go up? Oh, sorry, it was last year, 2 events ago, when runners had to go up giant stairs instead of Furber. And at first people were like, that's a shame and you're missing out on that magic of Furber, which is great. I do love Furber stairs. And thought that it might have in some way been easier because it's a couple of little flat bits, but no, I don't think so. Yeah.
Nah, I reckon Giant's worse.
Yeah, Giant's kind of, the word stairs is doing a lot of work there. It really is more of a series of ladders, isn't it? And
it actually went from, I think, 951 steps to 1,300 or something. Tom and one of the course crew decided to have a bit of fun with our sign and cross out the old number of steps and put the new one, just to upset the poor runners that were heading up.
So I wanted to talk to you about your role with Ironman and being an operations manager and in charge of events. How did that come about? How did that opportunity come about?
Well, I was keen to get into this space for a while. And actually, when I started working at 6 Foot or volunteering at 6 Foot, I sort of thought, I wonder whether if I start getting some more operational experience in this way through volunteering, as well as wanting to obviously get back to the community as well, that maybe it might lead to other opportunities. And then a role came up at Ironman in the partnership sort of sponsorships area, which I took, which was a chance to sort of get my foot in the door. And then I think, as a team, we decided that there was a need for sort of more, some more trail input and trail experience, and the events have continued to grow and grow. And COSI was obviously a new event at the time. Tarawera's continued to, do so well. So that's the time I transitioned across into the ops side of the business.
Having run so many UTA, and that's probably something that people don't realise about you, or they see you as just this kind of face in the structure. Were you nervous when there's a difference to running one to putting one on. Were you especially nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew, knowing so many people in the trail running community, I thought, no one's going to hold back if I stuck this up. And obviously it's a huge team effort, and I work with a fantastic team. You guys obviously know a lot of those people as well. So it's not like you're doing it on your own, but yeah, certainly I did feel the responsibility to make sure that we we're delivering an amazing event for people. And there's so many people out there that are so invested in these races. You know, it's the people that founded them, you know, Paul Chartris and, you know, and Tim Day and for Tarawera, or Tom and Alina for UTA, but also just all of the people, all of the runners who've spent, you know, so many years running these courses, and the volleys and Uncle David King. Yeah, there's so many people who love these events. So absolutely, I do feel the pressure to make sure that they, you know, they deliver amazing experiences for people.
I think that's where we as a trail community, though, have been so lucky that you got appointed into the role that you did, because you've got this wealth of experience and knowledge and, you know, are a part of the community who really gets it and is invested in it. And, you know, there was a lot of talk when Ironman took over UTA, and you know, that people were concerned about it losing its special nature, or I don't know, you know, the essence of what UTA is. And, you know, like you know that, right? Like you've done 10 of them. So you understand, you know, how special it is, and what are the ways that you retain and promote and protect what makes the event special in your role?
Yeah, well, I mean, you did right that there. I mean, I was again a runner, not with Ironman at the time that Ironman took it over. So I was, absolutely equally sort of sitting there going, "Oh, what's going to happen?" And look, again, I think any time that sort of thing happens, there was a couple of bumps in the road. You know, we're very fortunate again with the events that we've got, that we've been able to. Still keep working with the people that were involved in the event, like Tom and Tim and Nick Reader, etc. So we're very fortunate in that way. But in terms of what we want to keep, first and foremost, if you read any athlete survey post our events, you know, most of what people talk about are two things: the courses and also the just the community vibe. So in terms of the courses, that's always top of our minds, to make sure that we keep delivering amazing experiences to runners. And again, you know, there's been some tough times, haven't there, with Tarawera, where again with slips and so forth, you know, we've had to go to a loop course and so forth. So that's why we're so excited to go back to that sort of more traditional route this year. And that's always what we're striving to do, is deliver the best and, of course, safe courses as well. And that was what was so cool about bringing on the miler this year. Was I love the Grace Valley as well, so being able to sort of bring that into the UTA mix was exciting as well. So definitely, starting courses, I guess. The community vibe, that's a lot more difficult to put your finger on it, isn't it? And I remember again, I know I keep talking about UTA, obviously it's the one I've been most involved with as a runner, but I remember in years gone by going up to the expo and literally taking like an hour or 90 minutes to actually get through the expo, because you're just running into friend after friend. That's like going to a pub on Friday night. So definitely trying to keep that vibe. And so that's why we've put a lot of focus on, the village, both checkpoints, and making sure that they're fun and interesting for the spectators, and if spectators are having fun and support crew are having fun, hopefully they support the run as well. And then also at the finish, making sure that we've got, again, the areas that people want to hang around and want to chat to their mates after the race. For those that don't need to go head straight home for a good nap. And then I guess the other important bit for all of our races, I'd say particularly so for Tarawera and UTA, is the cultural connection as well. And I mean, I don't need to tell you guys how special it is, for Tarawera, having the kapahaka and karakia prayers and pōwhiri, etc. And obviously, again, Ken Roriti is involved in that regard. And then, UTA, there's so many amazing touch points from, we've got Ali Chatfield, who I'm sure you know does the paintings each year, which is the inspiration for all our sort of merch. And David King's daughter, Kelsey, hand-painted 800 clapsticks, so 400 sets this year. And they've all got, like, you know, a story to tell, and they're unique. The Yidiki players up on Iron Pot. So it's not, I hope no one thinks it's a tick box exercise. It's absolutely not. Those, yeah, it's really well integrated. Cosy is more interesting because there's actually no traditional custodian living on the land. So Auntie Iris actually drives 5 hours to get there each year and 5 hours back. So, but we're working with her about, you know, how can we sort of increase that cultural connection as well.
I think those aspects they're always the moments that really get you deep in the feels, like, you know, the haka at the start of the miler. It's just like that moment afterwards, and the silence just sits, and the weight and power of it just is there in you. And the same, you know, like Uncle David King's welcome. And I've never got to experience the Yidaki players on Iron Pot, but I can imagine when you're up there. Like, I've been up there and it's absolutely beautiful and special. And I can imagine the sound of that just being, I don't know, it would just light you up, I think. Yeah,
definitely. And I have a lot of respect too for them carting the Yidakis all the way up the hill as well. It's a mean climb to get up to there.
Carrying them up. I've never thought about that, but now I'm like, how do they do that?
I know. Actually, for the miler, we really wanted to be able to have them there for the whole time that the miler was there. But as you know, like, the race starts 21 hours earlier, and so that wasn't practical. So we did actually, though, have them at a spot around in the Grass Valley as well, which was cool.
Speaking of the miler, Tanya.
Yes.
When are you going to do it?
Never.
10 UTA hundreds, and she's never doing the UTA miler.
Oh, look, I'd have to get a lot fitter than I am now. Don't they say, yeah, mechanics have the worst cars? And I think since I've taken this role, my body's definitely been in worse shape than it's ever been before.
It's the great irony of people involved in running, that you don't get to do much running. But that's something I wanted to ask you about. How has working in the space changed your racing experience? When you turn up somewhere, are you putting on your operational? Can you take your operational hat off?
No, not completely. Actually, I think, Ellie, I was mentioning this to you sort of the other week. I still love getting out there. There's so many cool races, isn't there? From grassroots races to big races, there's so much choice, and that's increasing all the time. So I still love getting out there. As I say, it's become a very social thing for me. It's generally a girls' weekend away, etc. I still enjoy it. As I say, my training has got less and less. So I to be honest, I haven't let it stop me. I haven't been doing more than those 50k races, but I'm literally going out with almost no training. But at least I'm realistic and know that I'm going to get my money's worth, and I'm going to be coming in at towards the end of the pack. But yeah, to your point about being able to take sort of my operational hat off, I see all of the risks, and it's not risks that people have, that race organisers have taken necessarily. It's just, I'm going under this overhanging rock, and has there been a geotech assessment done there? And, and I'm looking at sort of traffic management issues, or, I'm definitely have that lens when I'm looking at the race.
I heard that you're someone who likes to, spread the running love around. I heard you're a member of 5 different running clubs. I mean, I guess why stop at one? But what the did the other running clubs know about the other running clubs? How does that work?
I feel like I'm cheating on them. Look, I haven't been as actively involved in all of them as I would have liked. But again, I guess it came back to when I first started sort of running. Sometimes, I don't know, the club might be going to a particular place that was out of town that I couldn't get to, so I'd join another one, and it was really way to meet loads of people. Again, different clubs sort of have, I definitely won't call them out for what their focus is, but, different sort of strengths and areas that they focus on as well. So, got to meet loads of amazing people through those clubs. So I'm very thankful to be part of a lot of them.
Yeah, I can imagine it's probably quite hard catching up with everybody now because it's full on, right? Working at events. Like there is a big spend. Like I can relate when you're saying, my running suffers because when you work an event, it's big. Like people often see the event and they think it only happens on race day. But I know, like I remember, I've probably talked about this story before, but I remember years ago I had this day with Tom and it might have been in October and the race was in May and we went out to all these different places. We went to talk about race bibs. We talked about, went and checked out Iron Pot and talked to Mark Friend on his farm and then we went to, anyway, it ended up being 10 o'clock at Queen Vic Hospital at night talking about which branches needed to be cut down so buses could turn around. And I was just like, my mind was completely blown, like, this is happening in October. The race is months and months away, but there's so much to do. And then on race day, it's big as well. Like you've got these massive days and that kind of emotional and physical spend. It must be really, consuming to kind of be working event after event. Like kind of how do you keep the motivation and the passion and all that sort of stuff going?
Oh, it's definitely like a roller coaster. I think you definitely do need some of those downtimes, even if they don't last that long before you sort of go back the other side. I know sometimes I worry, am I becoming very, very one-dimensional? But I think my kids help keep me keep me a bit more balanced in that regard. But I know what you're saying. Again, when I was running and before I was on the organising side of things, there's so much that I just took for granted. Just run up and I wouldn't think about how stuff got there or who else was involved. And I guess the other thing too is, say from a medical perspective, we've got a huge team at all of our events, but unless you get injured, which we want as few people to do that as possible, you actually don't even get to see what's behind the scenes. And obviously that's not just at our races either. It's so many. So, actually that's another thing. Maybe when you talked about going to other races, now probably appreciate more what's been put into them.
It's funny that medical thing, isn't it? There's races are generally so safe, and even something like UTA, where that's the thing that struck me when I started running. There are places in the Blue Mountains, a couple of feet to the right or the left, depending which way you're going, and there's nothing underneath you for several hundred metres. That adds a tiny little frisson of excitement, but people, I guess people understand. Yeah, it is exciting, right? If you run at sea level, you don't have that. You could fall in the river and drown, I guess, but just that amount of, I guess, hands underneath people. It's important to realise that they're there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously we can't make any trail, 100% safe. We can do absolutely the most that we can. And we've made choices. There was a little section at Tarawera that we were going to use at one stage, and we looked at it and we thought, no, like even no matter what sort of signage and whatever we put, that is not safe. But obviously you can't remove 100% of all those risks. I mean, the things that we obviously do, Lucas from our event safety services helps us put like Bruce's Walk for the miler, put in extra, planks to get across waterways and ropes and special ladders to get up certain areas that can help. And I know a lot of people would probably go, oh, no, don't become a nanny state. You can't make everything, you can't make it like the sidewalk. But yeah, we definitely do whatever we can. And we've got stretcher teams on call if we need to get someone in. We work with New South Wales Ambulance have an ambulance on call, and we work with the local hospitals and all the rest of it. I guess we don't talk about that so much because, again, so few people actually get to use that. And people are actually getting a lot better. We're getting less medical incidents. And I think their knowledge is growing. And even though still, like, we get about 50% of our entrants are first-timers to that particular event. But I think, maybe people are doing their homework more, sort of researching what they need to do. So, we've definitely got less incidents.
Yeah, I remember talking with Lucas about that, and he said, we're not actually seeing people taking ibuprofen and, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories anymore. But what they're doing is they're overdosing on paracetamol. So they might be popping, like, at a backyard ultra, one each lap or something like that. And that's definitely not a thing. So if you're listening and you've been doing that, please, Matt's got something to say about it, I think. But I thought that was really interesting from Lucas. Like, this is a new issue that we're seeing coming through with backyard ultras.
And the far more dangerous ones. So that's the thing. And I almost, and this might sound controversial, I think, okay, cool, you're going to get an AKI with ibuprofen, right? Or you might get an AKI with ibuprofen and acute kidney injury, right? If you take one Panadol an hour for 15 hours, you've taken a paracetamol overdose. If you've taken, so what's that? You've taken 700 grams of paracetamol. That's really dangerous for you. You're going to have to go to hospital. You're going to have to get blood tests. You're going to that level has killed people in the past, and especially if it's staggered. So that's something that I'm always super aware of. We had a friend he did the Tarawera Mile once, and he was taking one Panadol every half an hour for a while.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I was like, bro, we were on a running river. He's got the constitution of an ox, obviously. God knows how he muscled through. But yeah, it's something that I think needs to be far more front and centre is, yes, take 2 Panadol every 4 hours if you need to. And I'm not, I don't want to get into you got to experience everything, bro, or whatever. Don't at me. But yeah, take it as directed because it's far more dangerous.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's...
No, not sorry. Good information. Information that keeps people alive is definitely worth putting out there.
And I guess the other thing to consider is, should someone unintentionally overdose or a staggered overdose with paracetamol, the antidote to it makes you feel even worse than the overdose itself. So that you have to be hooked up to an antidote, essentially, for between 24 and 36 hours. So it's not a pleasant... Yeah, there's nothing pleasant about it. So please...
It's another ultra in itself.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
How was this year with UTA being a major?
Yeah, that was great. Obviously, again, a little bit more sort of pressure in terms of more eyes on the race. I've gone back and watched some of the broadcast, but obviously was working, so I didn't get to see a lot. Yeah, and definitely there's been more international interest since entries have opened for next year's race. But again, we were sort of conscious of wanting to elevate that, to be worthy of the major status. And obviously it's exciting that we get, 210 people get to go and qualify for the finals without joining the lottery. And obviously, prize money's gone up and so forth. But we also didn't, that benefits some people, but we didn't want to lose what makes it special for most people that run the race. So enjoyed sort of doing things like redoing all of the, past Avenue of Champions sort of signage as you walk up to the finish, having sort of increased presence from Hoka, our partners and who added it to the experience. You probably saw digital screens where you could type in your bid number and the background changed depending on what distance you did. So lots of things like that. Obviously, I talked about the checkpoints earlier. We bought in all of the straw furniture for the Megalon Valley. We actually had an overseas visitor come, and they said it was like, they reckoned it was like Woodstock down in the Megalon Valley. They said that one checkpoint was bigger than a lot of the American races that they've got back home for them. So that's all important, but I think I touched on earlier, making sure still that the courses are beautiful. Yeah, you can do all of this extra nice stuff and whiz-bang stuff, but if you're not, making people still feel special and getting to enjoy amazing landscapes and so forth, then that's for nothing. So
I don't know about you, Ali, but I remember standing at the commentator briefing just going, oh no, internally, I read all the briefing papers, and then when, you're standing there with Craig and SK just going, oh, there's 100% chance we're going to get this wrong. But we didn't, thank goodness. And it felt like 2 races in one, like you said, about how it was this major thing and we're doing live crosses and you have to stand here and do this. And then they went, okay, cool, back to normal. There's your start, there's your finish line, and off you go. And it became the UTA again.
Yeah, you just do what you've always done. I think that was how I saw it. I was just like, oh, just do the same old UTA we do, and they'll just do some video stuff around us. But actually, I think that was the thing that made me proud about the major, was that all of the people that commented from back home, and they were like, man, it looks so amazing, it looks so beautiful. And I was like, yes, because it is. That's what kind of keeps me going back there, is just that it's just such a beautiful area. And then the people as well, that's also what makes it so fun, is catching up with everybody year after year. But I was really proud that coverage went out there to the world, so they can all see how amazing the Blue Mountains are.
How cool was the rolling fog over Narrow Neck was incredible, which actually was great, because obviously, it was a bit disappointing that it was quite foggy and that some of the views, maybe on the Gross Valley for the milers, were not what they could have been. But having said that, there was different views that actually made it quite atmospheric, etc. So
I couldn't believe that. Your eyes betray you, eh? You can't process those phantom falls. I couldn't anyway process those phantom falls. I was running with the sweeps, just recording some interviews and hanging out with people, and the whole time I was having to really stay on target, because I was being drawn to this. Your brain can't process it because of the vastness of it. And it's been like that for millions of years too. So it's one little spot, this one little blink of an eye, and it's incredible.
Definitely. And even the footage, the drone footage where they show all the waterfalls and so forth. I mean, I get that some of them, as a runner, you might, you don't have the same vantage point or whatever as the drone does. But it also made me think that there are lots of stunning locations that sometimes, if I've been chasing a time and not necessarily totally soaking in my surroundings, that you do just run straight past them. So, it is good seeing those highlights clips and just reminding you how, what a beautiful part of the world it is.
I always feel like that about Wentworth Falls, actually, because you run across these stepping stones, you have no idea about unless you go to the bottom, you have no idea about the majesty of those falls. They are... Yeah, when you step from the bottom, then and to think you're right on the precipice of it, but you don't know if you haven't been down the bottom. Hey,
no, that's right. And obviously our other races are also gorgeous. But what I love is that they are actually all quite different. From obviously, Cosy, you're above the tree line for a lot of it, aren't you? So it's sort of majestic in a different way.
Yeah, and then Tarawera is just right by the lakes.
I know. Tarawera, I know, Ellie, you know this story, but I've only done once as a runner, and I just refer to it as the mud year. I think I reckon about 50 of the 60-something kilometres, I can't even remember the distance at the time now, but was, sort of calf-deep mud.
Was that 2016 then, if it was 60K?
I thought it might have been 2018.
Or 2018. 18 was the first year of the miler.
Yes,
2016 was also very muddy, and it was when you could change distances partway through. And so I'd counted all the medals for Paul like a few days beforehand. Sweet, we've got enough. And then it was ridiculous. Like they ran out of 60K medals because all of the 100Ks, well, not all of them, that's exaggerating quite a lot, but quite a lot of 100Ks and quite a lot of the 85 all changed to the 60K. So there were oodles of leftover medals in the longer distances and not enough in the 60K. And one of my friends had got to the finish and her daughter had said to her, "What took you so long?" After like slogging it out in the mud for so long.
For anyone who's listening, it's not always muddy. Sometimes it's beautiful.
Sometimes there's
80% of the
droughts.
time. Yeah.
And I would definitely not be the right person to run an event where they offered you a shorter distance change in the middle. I would 100% take that every time.
Let's talk about that. Let's touch on that because, again, as a runner who's run events where they've had to shorten courses or you wake up in the morning and, there's an alternate course and you kind of grumble a little bit and then you say, well, no, that's okay. Tell us the process. What goes into making a change and how quickly can you turn a big organisation like, say, that goes into UTA, how quickly can you turn that around to make a course change?
The biggest change, again, I'll use UTA as an example, that happened was actually in 2017 when I was a runner, so I wasn't involved behind the scenes. And again, Ellie, you were probably involved. That was one where the runners, the 50K runners, right, woke up to find out that they were running.
Doing the other 50.
the other 50. But I think that the turnaround on that was incredibly tight, like, sort of a day or two. COSI was the first COSI event when it snowed in December in Australia, and it shouldn't have. Again, that was a couple of days that got turned around. Obviously, what these past experiences have told us is, we need to have contingency course A, B, C, D, and E. So I think we've got better at it. I think, again, in 24, so last year, we had different things happen that required course changes sort of 5 months out at UTA and then 3 months out and then a week out. But again, because we put a lot of work into, okay, what if this happens, this happens. So I think we're getting better at it. And, even COSI, because the weather can be unpredictable. Again, we've had learnings out of the last couple of years, and both of you were there to experience that as well.
Both years, yep.
Yeah. So now, we've. It's not to say the planning wasn't there already, but we're learning each time and going, okay, now we need to have. If we know a day before that there's electrical storms forecast, then we're going to kick into action. This step. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, but pretty tight turnaround.
It does. I remember Jake looking like he was going to murder that dude at Friday Flat, who was he'd had several schooners of beer, and he had a massive copper cowbell, like one of those big ones, and we were all. They said everyone needs to go inside because there's a lightning storm coming. Not this guy. He was running around outside, basically like a lightning rod, and well, I mean, you can only control so much, right?
I tell you, actually, my experience at COSI, I was at base camp and with a lot of the leads. So a lot of the elites were coming through when we had to pause the race. And I definitely would like to shout out to Abby Hall, who obviously won Western States this year. She was an absolute champion. She had already passed through the checkpoint and actually was one of the runners that got brought back, and just an amazing human being. She accepted that it's not ideal, and she'd obviously come a long way to race that race and so forth. And she ended up having to do an extra 7 kilometres because it wasn't possible to go and drop them all exactly where they got picked up from, etc. So, I think everybody handles those situations differently. But I was thrilled when I saw her success at Western States.
It's nice, isn't it? Like when you meet lots of these elite athletes and you know from working with them how genuine and wonderful they are. And so when you see them succeed, like Ruth, I mean, like we've talked about how Ruth helps us, you know, she'll be at the finish line at Tarawera at 3 a.m. and then she'll be at the finish line for the last milers and then she'll be helping pack down. Like, so we see these athletes that we're just like, we know you're actually really good humans, and seeing them succeed is so exciting. So I can totally relate to what you're saying about Abby. It's pretty neat.
Definitely. Yeah, we had
Ruth Croft.
One year we had Ellie Mack, Zach Miller and Ruth, I think, didn't we, all helping with mesh at the end, which was great.
It's incredible, isn't it? And it really does speak. And you don't hear about that stuff, right? You don't hear about the little things that these athletes do to really, you know, the kindness of ordinary, and I use that in air quotes, ordinary human beings who just can run good. The first person to text me after my DNF at Tarawera was Ruth Croft. She was the first person who texted me and goes, what happened? You know, and that's not a big note thing. That's like, I did not expect that. I was not, do you know what I mean? Like, we're close, but we're not like super, super close. And she was just so kind and genuine. It's incredible that, and I think that needs to be recognised with these athletes, isn't it? Because so often their athletic achievement gets held up as being the pinnacle thing, but it's everything else that goes into making them those awesome human beings that elevates our sport.
Definitely. But do you know what that also made me think of? I was like, did I text Matt?
No, you didn't.
I am not a good human.
You know,
Yes, you
you're
are a
actually
good
busy
human.
with the race, Tanya.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect a ton of sympathy, to be honest. But yeah, no, you didn't. But we did catch up afterwards, and yeah, that was lovely. But
Thinking about kind of being involved with all these races, you know, and having done UTMB, what was it like doing UTMB, and like how does it compare to what we have here?
Oh, look, it was an incredible experience. I think that the first time I went over, I guess, I mean, there were Facebook groups, but I only knew one other person that was over there, and now I feel like it's really cool to see. I join all of the Facebook groups for the Aussies that are going over, or the Kiwis that are going over, even though I'm not part. They probably want to kick me out of the groups, but that's right. But you know, the spectacle of it is amazing. I find the start line is what gets me over there. The music at the beginning. And obviously just an absolutely stunning course as well. So, yeah, very special that I've been able to take family over both times that I did the full UTMB and then, the OCC race in 22, I think it was. But there is a continuous theme that the first UTMB, my sister and my 13-year-old son were there supporting, and they only came to one checkpoint in 45 hours or whatever. They were also enjoying the hotel facilities.
Which checkpoint was it?
They came to Courmayeur.
I was going to say, was it Courmayeur? That makes sense.
But no, amazing race to do. Definitely. It was one on my bucket list.
hey, what's the most memorable thing that you've ever done on your birthday at a start line?
I was wondering whether this would come up.
Come on, share. I think it shows that thing about like people like, oh, big corporates, rah, rah, rah. But like, it's your birthday, you're a UTA, you know, it's quite a pinnacle. Tell us what happens.
I was outside at the sort of the command centre, and we had a couple of girls come running up, looking quite frazzled, and they said that they were support crew and their runner was about to start the 100K, I think, and she'd gone into a portaloo and had lost it. It had fallen out of her pants into the portaloo.
What is it?
Her phone.
Oh, sorry, her phone. Her phone, did I not say? So,
but probably also it as well.
So I don't know. People have said to me since, why didn't you get the friends and get the friends like a plastic bag or something and make them do it. I'm not too sure why. But they definitely said she was off somewhere crying because, of course, the phone is part of the mandatory gear, and she knew strictly speaking she shouldn't be doing the event if she didn't have it. And it's not like someone can loan you a phone, right? It's not like you've got a spare pair of gloves lying around, etc. So, yeah, I managed to find this large plastic bag and sort of went searching. And the only unfortunate thing was, couldn't find it in the first Portaloo where they thought it had happened. And then they went away and then they came back and said, oh, no, actually, she thinks it might have been this one next to it. So we looked in there and then no joy. And then they were like, no, we're pretty sure it is in that first one. So third time lucky, I managed to find the phone. So
I had no idea you'd been back 3 times.
Do you know, I have a confession to make with this too, because those friends came up to me. So I'm on the mic getting ready to start a race. And they're like, she's dropped her phone down the Portaloo. I'm like, that's it. It's gone. It's dead. Like there's no, like, I can't see any other way forward with this. So I was just like, I can't do anything about it. I'm about to start this race. And I was thinking, you just take your friend's phone or something like that. But no, Tanya, she actually gets it for them. So you're a far better human than I.
I can't believe...
Was the phone in a plastic bag?
No.
Oh.
And what race was she doing?
I think, as I say, I never actually got to speak to the runner, but I believe she was doing the 100. It was on the morning of the 50 and the 100. So
that is a long way to carry a phone that has been to the bottom of a Portaloo.
Uh-huh.
I didn't hang around to see if it was working, but the lights did. When I got it, the lights did come on.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. Look, it just speaks to your character, Tanya. I mean, that's as someone who has spent a long time in a field where body fluids happen, things happen. That makes me feel utterly sick to my stomach. Like I'm actually.
I just can't believe, because Ellie, I'm sure you've been around when this story, I think usually you're the one that raises it, and that you've never confessed to the fact that they came up and spoke to you first.
I was just like, that's gone. I can't even think of what another outcome could be. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't confessed to that earlier.
Although, I mean, it's not really... I'm not such a details guy, but I've looked over our commentator contracts and there's nothing in that contract about anything like that.
Very good point. I'll have it edited.
A clause.
Serious point. Have you then gone back now and maybe gone to an agricultural shop or a vet and got some of those long, because that will not be, in our cell phone culture, that will not be... that was the first, that will not be the last cell phone going down the crapper at UTA or indeed Tarawera or Kosi.
True.
No, I haven't looked into it actually. It's a very good point.
I've got a friend who's a vet. I'll see if I can get some hookups. But I'm not volunteering.
Just read your contract, Ellie, when it comes through for Kosciuszko.
Pin them on the side of the Portaloo in case. Oh, look, there's a spare pair of gloves over there. Go at it. Hey, Tanya, I've got to ask you, there's a question that we ask everybody that comes on Dirt Church Radio, and it is, what is your greatest run ever?
Look, I feel like I don't want to say this because it's a bit too predictable, but I probably can't go past UTMB just because it was pretty epic running around, into 3 different countries. And I guess at the time, especially the first time, I didn't know whether I could do it or not. I'd sort of only mainly seen sort of elite runners doing the race. And I certainly at the back of the pack, but it was, incredible. But, to be honest, I could probably spend all day just talking about so many other races as well. Yeah, actually crewing for Coast to Kosi was pretty awesome as well, which I know, you guys have been involved with as well.
It's a pretty epic race too.
Yeah.
Well, look, Tanya, thank you for your generosity in speaking to us, and thank you for what you do for the community, both in the, in the Ironman space, but also like the volunteering space, doing 6-week track, the ops for that, and your advocacy for the trail space, and your kindness at races. You've looked after Ali and I as well, really, when we're cold and tired in the middle of the night. And yeah, I hope Kosciuszko and On to Tarawera are very successful for you. So thank you very much for coming on to Dirt Church Radio.
Thank you again. Thanks.
Tanya Carroll is a legend, and I can't wait to see her the next time I am lining up on a start line or there with a mic. She's just wonderful, and you probably won't see her because she's so humble and behind the scenes, but what a complete legend. Hey, Andrew, before we leave, I need you to explain something to me as if I was a 3-year-old. What's going on between Garmin and Strava? Because I kind of looked at it on the weekend and then just walked away.
I'm just imagining actually explaining this to a 3-year-old and how funny that would be.
Hey, buddy, these watches, they've got goblins in them. Well, the goblins are suing another goblin. No, tell me what's going on.
That's actually pretty good. Maybe you should do it. It's a tricky one. Like,
I actually thought it was your boy Scott Jurek. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, no, it's for real, bro. Strava's grumpy at Garmin about using their data and information to build their own sort of platform or various other things. DC Rainmaker's got a whole video on it. It's really good. Just watch that. But I've
never got to the end of a DC Rainmaker video or article awake. And that's no disrespect to DC Rainmaker. That's me. I'm the one with the problem. God bless that man.
This one's pretty quick and it's pretty punchy. So it's easy to get through. The thing that worries me is Strava's basically trying to assert dominance over their biggest client, who could very easily turn around and say, you know what, maybe we'll just turn our sharing off and maybe Garmin's can't use Strava anymore, but we think we're big enough to get away with that. Because a lot of people are basically saying, well, I'm going to use my watch. I'm not going to give up my watch. And a lot of runners have Garmin's. So they're just going to be like, okay, I guess I'm not using Strava anymore. It's possible. I use the analogy of nuclear weapons to my wife, and she thought it was absolutely ridiculous that I was equating a trail running problem with nuclear weapons, but I still think the analogy stands up. If two countries both have nuclear weapons, the likelihood is they're not going to fire them. And I think that might be what happens here. I hope so. But I can't see Strava actually winning anything, and all they're doing is pissing off users. So it's a silly hand that they're playing. I wonder if there's something we don't know about, like Garmin's about to release an entire sort of like full-on social like running platform thing, and they caught wind of it and they're throwing their toys in the cot before it comes out. I don't know. That could be it.
Because they did go premium, didn't they, with their kind of... Garmin did kind of offer a
there's a plus. Yeah, and maybe that part of that will be this thing that we don't know about yet. I feel like there's some we watch this space. I feel like there's a big announcement from Garmin coming that is the reason that Strava's trying to get ahead of it. But I've got no evidence to back that up. That's just a gut feeling. We'll see.
I, for one, eagerly await the return of my favourite ever running platform, Daily Mile. Were you ever on Daily Mile?
Never heard of it.
Oh, it was awesome. It was like, it was terrible, but it was like MySpace and run. Like it was literally in those days of like, I ran today. Hey man, good job. And
I miss the chaos of MySpace. We could go back to pedometers. That's what I started with.
The wheel.
I had it on my hip, the pedometer on my hip. That was my first bit of running tech. It was amazing.
There was a whole, we should do an episode devoted to the lost running tech. Like there was a whole lot of, it's the equivalent of the Laserdisc. It came out, it was at a point in time, and it was rapidly eclipsed by like Garmin, like how Nike collaborated. Did you hear this? Nike collaborated with Jason Murphy from LCD Sound System on a tune specifically for a running workout. It was 45 minutes and 33 seconds long. It's called 45:33.
Okay.
It's an incredible piece of dance music, and it's meant to be a running workout, but it was one of their foot pod kind of
Oh,
things.
yeah, the
and then
foot pods. They were the things that you could put in your shoe,
Absolutely.
eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
I remember worshipping my Ambit 1. I got the Sunto Ambit 1 watch and just telling everybody what absolutely punishing everyone I met with how amazing this watch was. Because at the time it really was. It was groundbreaking tech. It's funny to see how far we've come. And now the big guys now mum and dad are fighting. And it's not fun. I'm not enjoying it.
I'm not enjoying it either. I mean, I paid enough for this freaking watch. Like, what more do you want? Bunch of dentists running around with them.
Oh, that's the only people that can afford the new Garmin's. They're outrageous. $4,000 for a Phoenix 8 plus extra pro thingy with a fancy strap. It's out of control.
How fancy is the strap?
I guess it's fancy.
Is it $4,000 fancy?
I don't know. Of course not. Nothing's $4,000 fancy. That's all right. Old man shouting at clouds.
Yes, exactly. On that note, Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Rayment.
Oh, Ellie Pottinger. And me, Andrew McDowell.
We're on all the podcast platforms, so like, follow, and give us a rating. It helps.
We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio. Email at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com.
Now, don't forget to sign up to our Substack for a weekly newsletter and Aid Station podcast.
Don't forget to write in with your greatest run ever. We'd love to hear from you, and you can read them on the website too.
Thanks to our supporters, Further Faster, That's It, Squadron, and our Substack subscribers in the DCR Aid Station crew.
I've been using that That's It stuff, the anti-chafe.
So good.
Damn good.
Damn good.
Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks when we have another great guest lined up.
Mā te wā.